Did you really have 3 wishes granted? She said. I did. And has anybody else wished? The first man had his 3 wishes, yes. I don't know what the first 2 were, but the third was for death.
Have you ever wished for something so desperately that you'd do anything to have it? In the short story of The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs, the White family come into possession of a seemingly magical paw that is said to grant 3 wishes. I really like the setting of this book. It's kind of in a cozy English home at the turn of the century, where the White family are all gathered around. It's Mr. and Mrs. White and their adult son Herbert. Mr. White and Herbert are playing a game of chess, and you know, it's just a real little cozy atmosphere. But when they're presented with this paw, they're also presented with the temptation. The paw's potential seems completely limitless. And at first, they don't really take it seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, neither would we. If someone brought us a monkey's paw, we'd probably go, gross. We might do what they do and make a wish just out of curiosity or just for fun. But they soon discover that the paw has real power and every wish comes at a cost. So I think a lot of people will kind of be familiar, at least with the gist of this story. You know, we've seen it with genies and demons and, you know, all different things. This time it's a monkey's paw. It's granting 3 wishes. And I think with this story, what is often said to be the meaning or the message of the story is, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Is it though? Is that the message of the story? I don't think so. It's actually one of the problems that I have with this story is that the messaging is off. I'm actually going to tell you a little bit later in the review what I think this story is actually about. This book was actually a departure for Jacobs, who was primarily known for humor and light satire, but he decided, do you know what, I'm going to give horror a go. And funnily enough, this is, I would say, the book that he is best known for. Interestingly though, after the success of The Monkey's Paw, Jacobs never fully embraced the mantle of a horror writer. Now, as I said, a lot of people see The Monkey's Paw as a cautionary tale of be careful what you wish for. I don't see it that way at all. I think that this is a story a little bit more nuanced about the need to be specific, you know, or read the small print. I mean, in all these stories with genies and all these deals that we make with the universe, they're always trying to trick you, right? So I would just be so specific if I was making a wish. I'd be like, actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. This is actually going to be the question of the video. So I'm going to set you a challenge. In the comment section below, I'm interested to know if you had one wish. Let's just bring it down to 1, right? If you had one wish, what would your wish be? And how, this is the creative part, right? How would you word your wish to avoid repercussions? Don't be boring. Don't just say, oh, I wish for £1 million with no repercussion. No, don't do that. It's boring, isn't it? Be creative. How would you word it? For example, if I was to wish for £200, which is what the family wishes for in this book, if I was to wish for £200, I would say, I wish for a very rich and wealthy man to drop off £200 on my doorstep and then to safely make his way back home to his loving family and live a long life and never miss the £200. And then I will decide what to do with the £200. You're no longer required to make any further decisions for me. I will decide how to spend this £200. You've got to be specific. And let's see what The Monkey's Paw has to say about that. The Monkey's Paw is a very, very short book. Look at that. It's basically a pamphlet, right? And so with books like this, it's even more important that the pacing is right. And I think that this is something that Jacobs does really well. He gets the setting just right. Like I said, I really like the introduction of the White family. I think they're realistic. And even though we only get a glimpse into their life, it seems like they're a happy, kind of close-knit family. And then the introduction of Sergeant Major Morris, I think it is, when he comes in and it's all cold outside and they're all warm inside. Come in, get out of the storm. And he has with him the monkey's paw, and he's the one that presents them with the monkey's paw. And his presence is very ominous. It's like a dark cloud has just roamed in over their lovely little sunny day. And he's kind of sitting there haunted. And the fact that we don't really know exactly what Major Morris has been through it makes it a bit more mysterious, you know? How did he come into possession of the paw? We know he got it from someone else, but what happened to them? Actually, we're given a glimpse into that as well. And this is, for me, the best line in the whole book. He says, I don't know what his first 2 wishes were, but his third was for death. That's epic. So yeah, I like the introduction of Sergeant Major Morris. I like the introduction of the monkey's paw. I think the setup is just so well done in such a brief amount of text, you know? Really, really impressive. However, after that, when the White family make their first wish, everything seems like it moves too quickly. I can't help but feel like this story probably could have benefited from being fleshed out just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, again, I'm going to show you look at that. So it really could have been twice the size and still just been a quick afternoon read. I think it just would have been nice to spend more time with the characters and maybe kind of get more into their decision-making progress and have more fun with it, make us care more about the characters. Because even though I said, you know, it's good that what he's able to do with such a short amount of text, no one told Jacobs that it had to be this short. I mean, it's not like a writing assignment. You have to do it within this amount of words or this amount of pages. He could have easily fleshed it out. So I think the section that is the strongest is the beginning. I think that's paced really well. And then the point between the first wish and the end of the story is way too quick. It almost feels like someone it feels like an outline of a story. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like someone saying, oh, the story's about this and then this happens and this happens, you know? Rather than the story itself, the final version. One thing that I did really like was the writing style. I don't think Jacobs spends too much time indulging in flowery prose. He has a very concise and direct storytelling style. And this is something that I really appreciated, especially after reading nothing but classic horror for this whole month. It was a real change of pace. The story that comes to mind is Henry James' The Turn of the Screw. And actually one of my subscribers, Leslie Walsh 999, just phrased it perfectly in the comment section. And I wish that I thought of this phrasing when I was making the review for The Turn of the Screw. Leslie said it was willfully impenetrable. That's just a great way to describe Henry James's writing style, and I really appreciated that. So yeah, Jacobs is kind of the exact opposite of that. He's got a very minimalist style. I'm not sure that everyone's going to love this book, but it's so short. It's such a small investment to make, and the language is simple enough that I think it would be a really good introduction into classic Gothic literature. It'll maybe take you half an hour to read. And also the ending is quite good. It comes too soon for me, but I think the ending is quite good. If you enjoyed my review of The Monkey's Paw, this is actually book 8 in my 10-book journey through classic horror for the month of October. And next up is The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. So if you'd like to see my review for The Call of Cthulhu, then you can click up here. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Happy reading.